The story begins, do you believe in miracles? In those events that science cannot explain, where everything seems lost and suddenly something divine happens. Because today I am going to tell you the story of a simple man who lived many centuries ago and became known as the saint who was miraculously healed. And the most impressive thing, the records of these miracles are real. And even today, there are documents and testimonies that confirm what you are about to hear here. Our story begins in a small village in Italy called Cupertino. In the year of 1603, there a boy was born named Joseph, son of a very poor family. From a young age, Jos was different. He was always distracted, gazing at the sky, talking to himself, and often forgetting his household chores. The villagers laughed at him and said, "That boy is good for nothing." But what no one imagined was that distracted boy would become one of the most extraordinary saints in the history of the church. Joseph had a pure heart. Even when mistreated, he never complained. He said, "If I can love, I already have everything I need." Eventually, he decided to enter a monastery. But guess what? He was rejected several times. His superiors thought he was too clumsy to be a friar, and he was very sad. But he never lost faith. One day, when he was almost giving up, a monk had a dream. In that dream, I saw Joseph of Cupertino shining like the sun, praying fervently. So, they decided to give him a chance. And that's when the miracles began. If these stories touched you, leave your comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. The first miracles when Joseph was finally accepted into the monastery. No one expected much from him. He was the simplest friar, the most clumsy, and they say, the most forgetful as well. He would get confused during prayers, drop things, forget tasks, and sometimes seem to live in another world. But despite that, there was something different in Joseph. While everyone else was preoccupied with rules and studies, he spent hours in silence, conversing with God in thought. Some monks found this strange. Others said it was pure holiness. One day, during a simple mass, something unbelievable happened. Joseph was kneeling in the corner, completely absorbed in prayer. Suddenly, his body began to slowly rise from the ground. The people around were confused. Some thought it was an illusion. Others cried out in astonishment. But he continued floating, with his eyes closed, as if he were on another plane. Some say he was suspended for a few seconds. Others claim it was minutes. When he returned to the ground, Joseph was in tears. He couldn't explain what had happened. He only said that his heart was filled with a joy that came from heaven, and that was it. The first documented miracle of levitation in the life of Saint Joseph of Cupertino. But it wouldn't be the last. After that day, Joseph's fame began to grow. People from distant villages came just to watch him pray. And the most curious thing is that the miracles seemed to happen without him even realizing it. Once, during the celebration of a religious festival, Jos saw an image of Our Lady being carried in procession. He was so moved that he shouted, "Oh, my mother in heaven!" And at that same instant, his body rose again before everyone. The bells began to ring, people knelt, and silence fell over the square. This event was witnessed by dozens of worshippers and recorded in official reports from that time. The monks were frightened. Some believed it came from God. Others argued that it might be something too supernatural to be allowed. Because of this, Joseph was sent to live in another monastery, in seclusion and silence. But what was meant to be a punishment ended up revealing even more miracles. One night, the monks heard strange noises coming from the chapel. When they opened the door, they saw Joseph kneeling before the altar, floating once again. He was clutching a crucifix tightly and crying softly. One of the monks later recounted, "He didn't seem to be here among us. He seemed to be looking directly at the sky, as if speaking to someone invisible." People started calling him the Saint of Flight because their levitations occurred during moments of profound faith. And it wasn't just during, as reports say, he also floated when I heard the name of Jesus, or when seeing something beautiful in nature. But Jaws never considered himself special. He said, "It is not I who do this. It is the love of God that lifts me up." And perhaps it was this humility that made his miracles happen in such a pure way. In addition to the levitations, other mysterious signs began to appear. Sick children improved after their prayers. Animals approached him without fear. And sad people said they felt peace just from hearing your voice. There are records of a time when a desperate woman took her son, who was on the verge of death. Joseph prayed for a few minutes, touched the child tenderly, and the next day, the boy was on his feet, completely cured. The doctors couldn't explain it, but the people said, "Wherever Joseph goes, heaven also goes." These events transformed Joseph of Cupertino into a true beacon of hope for all who were suffering. But he would still face the most difficult moment of his life, a time of illness, pain, and doubt, where it would happen the greatest miracle of all, his own healing. If these stories touched you, leave your comment, like, would subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. The disease and the impossible cure. Years passed, and that young man who once floated in prayer was now a simple man, with a serene face and a gentle gaze. Joseph of Cupertino lived in peace, but his body was already beginning to weaken. The long hours of fasting, the cold nights in the convent, and the life of penance left deep marks. He coughed, felt constant pain, and often he couldn't even get out of bed. The doctors of the time examined him as best they could, of course, with limited resources, and said that H.R. wouldn't live very long. His body was weak, without strength, but Joseph didn't complain. Instead of crying, he gave thanks. "Lord," he said, "if pain draws me closer to you, then may I never be afraid to suffer." The monks at the monastery were worried. They tried feeding him better. They cared for him with affection, but nothing helped. He got worse every week. Some thought it was the end. Others believed that his suffering was a kind of mission, a way of offering his pain to alleviate the pain of the world. One night, while everyone was asleep, Joseph asked to be alone in the chapel. The candles were almost out, and the church was silent. He walked slowly, knelt before a crucifix, and began to pray. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Lord, I do not ask for an end to the suffering. I only ask that your will be done. But if there is still anything I can do for you, give me strength to continue." And it was at that moment that the miracle happened. Joseph felt an intense heat run through your body. His heart began to beat faster. He tried to stand up, but fell to his knees, overcome by a force he couldn't explain. Hearing a strange noise, the monks ran to the chapel, and when they opened the door, they saw Joseph lying before the altar with a peaceful expression on her face. They thought he had died. The body was motionless and cold. He stayed there for hours, but at dawn, something incredible happened. Joseph opened his eyes. She stood up slowly, took a deep breath, and smiled. "The Lord healed me," he said. The monks were in disbelief. He was strong, rosy-cheeked, and full of life. The fever has completely disappeared. The wounds disappeared, and even the tiredness seemed never to have existed. Doctors were called in to examine the friar. They saw him walking, praying, eating, and laughing as if nothing had happened. They tried to find explanations, but there weren't any. One of the official church records describes it this way. After deep prayer, Brother Joss was found instantly healed, with no signs of his previous illness. No natural cause was identified. This document was kept for years and centuries later, used in the legal process that declared it Saint Joseph of Cupertino. But Joseph did not boast. He didn't want fame, nor did he tell anyone that he had been cured. He continued to live humbly, helping others, always smiling. He said, "God raised me up so that I could lift up others," and that's what he did. For the rest of his life, Joseph used every moment to console the sick, comfort the poor, and inspire those who had lost their faith. The miracle of Joseph of Cupertino's healing was not just the recovery of his body. It was a transformation of the soul, a sign that faith can heal wounds that medicine cannot reach. And that is why, even today, he is remembered as the saint of hope, he who was lifted up by faith, healed by love, and who lived the rest of his life lifting the hearts of others. If these stories touched you, leave your comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. The miracle confirmed. Science leaves no explanation. After the prayer, something began to change. The following morning, the doctors realized that Friar Anthony's heartbeat was getting stronger. The oxygen was gradually decreasing, and he was breathing on his own. The head of the medical team was surprised. He looked at the monitors and said, "That's impossible. No patient in that condition improves like that overnight." During the afternoon, the friar opened his eyes and whispered, "Jesus touched me. I am healed." The nurses started to cry. Something knelt right there. They said they had never seen anything like it. In the following days, the tests were redone. The tumor has completely disappeared. The organs returned to normal functioning, and the heart, which had been failing before, was perfect, like that of a young person. The medical team was left without an answer. One of the doctors, who was an atheist, declared on camera, "I dedicated my life to science, but what happened here is inexplicable." It was a miracle. The case was so impressive that the church has opened an official investigation. For months, doctors, scientists, and religious leaders analyzed all the reports, interviews, and examinations. The result was clear. No plausible scientific explanation. So, the Vatican officially recognized the miracle. The story of Friar Anthony has been published in newspapers, documentaries, and even on TV programs. He became known as the saint who was miraculously healed. But Friar Anthony always said one simple thing: "I wasn't the one who received the miracle. It was God who wanted to." Show that love and faith can still transform the impossible into possible. The best part is that, after that, many people began to believe again. People who were sick, discouraged, or had lost their faith began to pray again, inspired by his testimony. If these stories touched you, leave your comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. The message that remained: the power of faith and miracles. After the miracle, Friar Anthony lived for many years. He continued to walk the same simple streets, visiting the poor, blessing the children, and talking to everyone who came to ask him for advice. People wanted to know, "Brother Anthony, what did you feel when you woke up cured?" And he would reply, smiling, "I felt a peace that was not of this world. I felt that God gave me a new chance to remind people that faith is not a fairy tale. It's real, it's alive, and when we believe, the sky opens up." Over time, his testimony began to change lives. Mothers who had sick children began to pray with more hope. People who were sad found comfort in his words, and even those who didn't believe in God began to reflect on the mystery of life. The Vatican has received hundreds of letters recounting new healings and blessings attributed to the friar's prayers. Some said, "I watched his story and cried. Since that day, my life has never been the same." And that's why he is still remembered today as a symbol of faith, humility, and hope. Not because he was healed, but because he knew how to transform the miracle into love for his neighbor. Perhaps you are going through a difficult time. Perhaps you are waiting for your own miracle. But remember, miracles still happen. They aren't always instantaneous. Sometimes the miracle is to find courage, strength, and peace within the heart. And who knows, by hearing this story, God might also be reminding you of something important. Faith is the bridge between the impossible and the possible. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Perhaps this person's miracle is beginning through you. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because here, every week, we tell you true stories of faith, hope, and miracles. And remember, the impossible is only the beginning of something that God will still do.